Good
I don't.
morning. This is the coffee chat. Sorry, I forgot to hit record, and I was just getting Karen to share some takeaways on where we're at in Atomic Habits. So we're going to dive right into that, and then I'm just going to walk through creating a meal plan and how I do it. Quick process, and I just want to kind of refresh people and for the new ones coming in on the system that I use that makes it super simple. So, but first, we're going to talk some takeaways on Atomic Habits. So go ahead, Karen.
I guess I'm just sort of getting into the meat of it, of to sort of how to do things. But it's made me think about things. Think about things that I'm doing or things that I'm not doing that I want to do. I like in the chapters how it has a summary at the end of every chapter. I like that, and we'll see. It's got me thinking. So I'm not sure. I was thinking about, our whole morning routine we got from the previous, but I was thinking for me, I think I have to move some of it around to a different part of the day because I just can't do everything in the morning, and then I go to work and it's not going to happen. So I have to decide what's most important for me to do in the morning before work, and then maybe do my other things in the evening. I don't know. That's one of the things I was thinking about.
Yeah, that's perfect, actually, and that's good to bring up because sometimes we feel like, oh, I got to get all this done, and if I don't get all of it done, then I've failed, and we start beating ourselves up because we're not doing it either, one, like everyone else is doing, or two, like you feel like you should be, like, but there's no right or wrong way, and it's just whatever's going to work best for you. So I'm all about time blocking, and so you look at your day, and like this is part of my weekend prep, is like a Sunday planning session, and looking at what is my week like, and obviously you're going to put in your work time, your commute time, and then what time you get up, and then there's your block of time, and how much time do you have, and what is going to be best served for you to do, and same on the other end. And so, and everybody should do that. Like, we try to don't go about it randomly, kind of look at exactly what is, what time do you have, and then what's going to be best for those times. And everybody's day is different, so got to do what works for each person. And the two with there is tons of great stuff, like you can highlight and underline and tab, and sometimes when I'm reading through it, there's so much good stuff, and my memory's not that great, right? So I feel like if I'm not absorbing it and I'm not implementing it right away, I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just not doing this very well. But it is just, you're feeding your brain, and like you said, there's so many little things that are making you like shift just a little bit in how you're thinking about things. And that's like, if that's all you got, that is great, because that's what we need. We just need to give our mind that different perspective, and it'll come back when you're faced with something like, oh, I remember reading this thing about this, and so I sometimes get a little overwhelmed when I'm reading and I'm getting all this great information. And it's just like, okay, I just need to highlight it, maybe come back to it, like open up a page and read something again. And it's just to spark that inspiration, just that motivation, and that different mindset shift. So, how about you, Deb? What did you take away?
I like what Karen said, because I had been rearranging my miracle morning per se, because I used to, before this, I used to work out late in the afternoon, and now I'm doing it. I try to do it before 9 o'clock, so I have this block of time in the morning, but I don't get all the savers done in that time. So I'm breaking it to later. So I like Karen, I'm just kind of massaging my schedule, and then truly get the intentions figured out, because do your daily affirmations. Well, I'm starting to do them at night before I go to bed, because I'm waking up in a positive intention, so there's little tricks like that, or the habit stacking, that it evolves on the intention of what you want to get out of the day. And I feel very good about that, because I'm slow going on this, but it's even intentional with people who I converse with, because it's just lately, it's just now the elections are coming. So if it's not COVID, it's election time, and it's like, oh, come on. So I actually have been filtering out stuff on social media and stuff saying, hey, I don't need that. And so, like, trying to create the positive intentions. So that's why I'm kind of focused on more so. And,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. So with the Miracle Morning, and Erin, we did that book in January. It's a great book to kind of help you figure out a morning routine. I know, Erin, you do have a morning routine, which is a lot in line with what the Miracle Morning is. I don't know if you've ever heard of the book, but I just heard he's got a new book out, The Miracle Equation, which kind of takes the morning routine and adds that missing piece of the whole day.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
So it's a brand new book. I haven't even looked at it, but I just heard somebody talk about it yesterday.
Who is
Yeah.
it by, Louise?
Hal Elrod,
Okay.
Elrod. Yeah. And it's a
He's
really quick, easy book to read.
Yeah.
To get through.
Okay.
even got a Facebook group, and they
Mhm.
kind of like, I was going to do it, but I didn't. They put out 30-day challenges out there to get people back into the routine. So, yeah.
Cool.
So just my one takeaway, I'm in a great chapter. Well, it's in the third law, it's make it easy. And just one thing I highlighted: to build a habit, you need to practice it, obviously. So, and habits aren't, like they said, does it take 21 days, 30 days, 60 days? And his take on it is, at 21 days, you've kind of established a habit, but you have to continue on with it to really, make it, solidify it. And really, a habit is something that you do for life, because once you stop doing it, it goes in reverse. You will lose that habit. So really, it is a matter of just continuing to practice it. And the third law is to make it easy. And so in chapter 12, it's the law of least effort, which so many of us as human beings, we want the path of least resistance, truly. Most of us, like I call myself the busiest, lazy person on that I know, because if I could get away with just doing nothing, I would, and still achieving what I want to. So we are just motivated to do what's easy. And that's why I like to, whatever I do, I just like to keep it super simple, right? Because I know for me, if I make it simple, then I'm likely to continue to practice it, to continue to do it, to make it a habit. So I'm enjoying this chapter of how to make it easy. And so that brings me to how I do my meal planning. And some of you have heard this, but we're just going to run through it real quick. And before I forget, I wanted to wish everyone a happy Mother's Day. And I know not all of us are moms, but we might be fur moms or, no moms. So just pass that sentiment along. And for the people that are listening to the recording. And then, so every Friday night is pizza night at our house. We quite often I'll follow it up with some Halo ice cream. My husband and I share a pint, and I just love this one. The tops are cute, right? And this one said, "You had me at Halo," so I had to share that. It was good. It's salted caramel ice cream, which is the new Shakeology flavor that's coming out this summer for a seasonal limited time. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so on to the meal planning. So how I start is I get out just one of these sheets, and this is the new one. And I fold it in half, and I kind of got this one prepped up. Yay, look at you. And I write, I used to do Monday through Sunday. Now I do Sunday through Saturday, because I tend to not, like, the weekend tends to kind of like be the jumping off place where I'm like, oh, I didn't really plan out very well, or I didn't get all the groceries. So now when I sit down on Saturday, I plan out, Sunday through Saturday. So I know I've got stuff for tomorrow, because usually that's the day. And then it's just like, well, let's just get a pizza or whatever, and it's usually what will throw me off. So anyway, I put the days of the week down. I put in pizza on Friday, because pizza just is every Friday. It's what happens at our house. And then Saturdays is usually leftovers or takeout. like I'm heading into Anchorage today, you know, to pick up my son, and it's going to be getting me back late. So it's probably going to be where I go and pick something up to eat or have leftovers. So got that lined out. But then what I also do, and I don't always do this because I know what this, but just for this practice is like I put breakfast here and then line out my 3 favorite breakfasts. And then lunch is usually my Shakeology. And then I also just listed cauliflower, spinach, fruit, PB2, because those are the typical things that I put in my shake, or salad stuff, because I might have a salad. And then at snacks, listing my favorite snacks, like apple, carrot, and almond butter, or red bell pepper and hummus are the 2 ones that I usually have. And so then this, just for this purpose, is because I want to make sure now that I know what those things are, my typical breakfast, my typical lunch and snacks, those are usually a la carte things. So meaning it's not a recipe. So I just want to make sure I have those things listed in my grocery list. So I'm going to look through my pantry and see what I need more of and make sure that those are put on my grocery list. So that takes care of breakfast, lunch, and snacks. So then all we have to do is figure out what are we going to do for dinner. And this was super important when I was working away from home. So I've been doing this for a while, this meal planning, because when I come home, or even when I've been working from home, it was like getting that question around 4 or thinking it to myself is like, what are we going to have for dinner, right? I hate that question. But now I know, I just don't have to think about it. So now it's just a matter of lining out what are your dinners going to be. So the things that I do is I have I didn't bring it up, but I have a binder, and I've looked at the Beachbody blog, and I've got lots of recipes, or this one was actually taken from a magazine and we love it. But I'll print out recipes and just the ones that we like and have them to flip through my family approved recipes and pick things out. So I will grab those, and then, there's recipes in this book that comes with your challenge pack. And then there's also 2 cookbooks. If you like actually flipping through cookbooks, these have wonderful recipes in them with all the container counts. There is, if you're following the 2B Mindset, there is a 2B Kitchen coming, which is a lot like the Fixate cooking show. And it's just going to be more based on the Plate It method. So with portion control, Ultimate Portion Fix, we follow the containers. With the 2B Mindset, it's a Plate It method. And if you're interested more in the Plate It method, most of us are portion fixers. So if you want more information on the Plate It method, I'll definitely share that. Okay, so now I have picked out my dinners, and I just figure out what day that I want them. I will look at my calendar. If I've got something happening in the evening, I might do a crock pot meal or pick one of the recipes that's easier to make and make my day out that way. I also, especially in the summer, more so in the summer, is look at the weather. And if we're going to have a beautiful sunny day, which we are Monday and Tuesday, I'm going to do something on the grill, right? I'm going to pick something that we can barbecue, be outside. So then I do that. I just put it down, line it out, and then I look at the recipe. What do I need from the recipe that I don't have in my kitchen? Put it on the grocery list. That's it. You're done. You've created a weekly meal plan. And then, but then thinking like, okay, how does that fit into my plan A, where I need 4 containers of reds a day, 4 greens, 2 yellows, 2 purples, right? That's where the Nutrition Plus Tracker app comes in. So then when I'll just pick one of my breakfasts in the morning, and I don't have to like figure if that's going to fit into the plan, because it will if I'm tracking, if I'm building the rest of my day out. So like before the call, we had Ezekiel toast with peanut butter and banana. And so I'll just go in and log that in right away as my meal 1. And then I put in my shake, and then I start building out my day. So then I know, from my meal plan, what my dinner is going to be. I will log that in next, because I want to make sure I have those containers at the end of the day. If I don't log them in right away and I just go about the day eating, by the time I get to dinner, when I'm going to eat that recipe, I'm like, oh, I already used up all my yellows and my spoons and my blues, right? And then I won't have what I need for that recipe, and I'll either overeat or I'll end up not having, having to think of now what I might have for dinner. So as I log in my breakfast, then I log in dinner. So it's bookending the day. And then that leaves you with what is left for the rest of the day for your lunch and your snack, basically. And that tells you what containers are left. And then it's easy to build, and then I put in my Shakeology, and depending on the recipe at dinner, that might require a purple, if it's like tomato sauce, or pumpkin, like pumpkin puree or something like that. Then I'm not going to put that second fruit into my Shakeology, right? And maybe the blue, I'm having cheese for my dinner, so I'm not going to put avocado in my Shakeology or have hummus with as my snack. So that just kind of lines it out, lets me know based on what I've had for breakfast, what I'm going to have for dinner, what I can have in the middle of the day, and I just build that out right in the morning, and then that gives me my daily plan. And it just helps with some flexibility. The other way to do it, for me, that is keeping it very simple and having that flexibility. The other way to do it, is to take each day, like Erin did hers this way this last week, is to look at your week, Monday through Sunday, and line it all out. What am I going to have each day for each meal each day? And that's how I did it in the beginning. I did that. Just kind of get familiar with what a day looks like for me with the containers. And then just knowing that these are my typical things that I have for breakfast, snack, and lunch. And then how do I fit those into a day where I want a specific dinner? So I just kind of honed it into the system that I'm using now. And then let me just share my screen real quick. So this is the meal plan so this is ADD Obsession. So this is another way just to do it with Time Nutrition. And these are in the program materials under the 80-Day Obsession workout program. And it has all your plans. So the other way to do this, if you want to what does a day look like for me? They have the containers set out together, exactly what you should eat.
Louise, I think it is showing the May meal.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I clicked on, and I was like, how'd that pop up? Okay, so that's what I was going to talk about, was the May meal plan, and we'll put this in the files, or I'll send it out an email. So this, we have these, and we sometimes share them, but it gives you just recipe ideas, really. And this is, again, this concept of repeating your favorite. So picking, a couple of these that you might have for breakfast, picking a couple of these that you might have for lunch, and you see how they have the vegetable frittata here and repeat it over here. Same with, dinners. You could do it this way. You could pick 3 dinners, and you're going to have this one night and make it leftovers the next night, right? So you're not having to do new recipes every night. And the same with your snacks. And so we'll share this out. I'll share this out there. I'll send it in email, just because it's kind of a larger file and it's harder to look at on the phone, so that you'll have it. And so that you can pick these and just make them, figuring out which ones work for you, which ones you like. And they come with the, either the Plate It method or the portion fix, container count. And again, it's really just keeping it simple, not having to do new. And in the beginning, I'll tell you what I did very first starting off was I did most things a la carte. So my dinner was not a recipe. It was, I'm having chicken, I'm having broccoli, I'm having potato, I'm having a hamburger, I'm having a bun, I'm having, some, I don't know, Brussels sprouts. So it was very a la carte, just to kind of in the beginning. So now, so we'll share this meal plan out there, and then I'll finish with the Time Nutrition. This is, I do like this, except the only thing I'm gonna, use, this is a prescribed portion fix plan. So you don't think, okay, this pre-workout or post-workout meal, I don't really want to have a veggie then, so I'm going to put it down here. If you're going to do the time nutrition, you follow it exactly like it is. So you're always eating this combination of containers as your post-workout meal. You're always going to have this one and this one, right? Always keeping the containers together. The only thing that you can swap around is your pre-workout meal, because if you're getting up at 6 and you don't want to work out, if you're working out at 6 and you don't want to get up at 4:30 to eat a pre-workout meal, right? You can swap this meal option 1, which is great for Shakeology. So a shake and fruit and maybe a thing of almond butter, right? And you put that as your pre-workout meal. And then you take this pre-workout meal and bring it down here as your other timed meals. And this workout block, this is a morning workout block, but you can put this block anywhere. So if you work out at night, then this is your pre-workout meal before you're working out at night. This is your post-workout meal, which would be your dinner basically. And these would be meals that you have earlier in the day. So I liked this when I did it, but it is very prescribed. And so I like it. I like more flexibility in my meal planning. So does anyone have any questions on that? So then you've got your meal plan, you've got your grocery list, you just get your groceries. When you're looking at your recipes, there may be some things you want to do ahead of time, like pre-cook your potatoes or your spaghetti squash, things that are going to take a little bit longer time if you need to come home and really kind of throw things together. Just think ahead. And I will actually on my note here, I'll put a little note like pre-baked potatoes and in the morning when I'm logging this in, I'm looking at this and it kind of gets me lined out for the day ahead of time. And then I have all of this just clipped together with a magnetic thing that goes right on my fridge. So it's all right there. When I'm making my coffee, I can look at what's for breakfast. If I need to thaw something out, I double check just to make sure I did get all the ingredients, because especially right now, sometimes they're like, well, we don't have any of that. like there's a lot of things that's out of stock. Okay. So that is it on the meal planning. Is there anything, practices that you do, any tips that you have that help work for you that you want to share?
I sometimes on the nutrition app, there's a recipe button too, and it goes right into the blog. And I tend to try to do something out of my ordinary one recipe, whether it's a Shakeology or a lunch or a dinner. I try to do something different, just to add variety. And I stuck to 10 Round. They had a pre-plan in the group, and I tried to stick to it, but I felt like it was a little gourmet-ish. It took time to prep the whole breakfast. It was delicious, but if I was working and stuff, it was like, forget this. My go-to, scrambled eggs and a toast and go, with veggies. But so some of them you get to be labor intensive, and that turns me off, because I would think if I was working, but I had the time to do it and it was enjoyable, but it all depends on what your style is.
Yeah. I'm the same. It's like, oh, that's a lot of work to do for breakfast.
Yeah, let alone getting the ingredients. And then I'm the one that I don't like throwing stuff out. The fresh thyme I got, I used a couple of it and it was gone. So anyways, just try something new once a week. That's kind of fun to do.
Right. And that's how I built my recipe binder. I would pick a new recipe to add into the things that we already were making and that we liked, and just to try something new. And that's kind of how my recipe binder got built up. Yeah, good tip. All right, I am going to stop the recording. Thank you, ladies, for getting on.